18-month-old boy was found alive in a hospital morgue nearly 5.5 hours after a doctor declared him dead. A police officer had warned that doctor there were signs of life. The doctor allegedly told him he had a medical degree and to let him do his job, and a toddler spent 5 hours in a morgue before anyone listened. Here is everything we know. On the afternoon of February 8, the 18-month-old boy was discovered unresponsive inside his family's pool in Gilbert, Arizona at around 5:30 p.m. Emergency services were called immediately. Officers and paramedics arrived at the home and rushed the toddler to Mercy Gilbert Medical Center. The little boy arrived at the hospital fighting for his life. What happened next is the subject of a damning police report obtained by ABC 15, a report that raises deeply troubling questions about what took place inside that emergency room. Shortly after the toddler arrived at Mercy Gilbert Medical Center, a police officer at the scene heard a nurse make a statement that stopped him in his tracks. The nurse said, "I have a pulse." The officer immediately alerted the doctor handling the case. What happened next is documented in his own words in the police report. The doctor, who has not been publicly named, allegedly told the officer that he was arrogant to raise the concern. "He arrogantly told me he was the doctor, he has the medical degree, he went to medical school for a reason, and to let him do his thing," the officer wrote. Audio captured in body cam footage obtained by ABC 15 appears to record the moment of that exchange. "I went to medical school for a reason," the doctor can be heard saying. When the officer attempted to respond, the doctor cut him off. "Okay. Let me just clarify. Thank you." Shortly afterwards, the doctor officially declared the toddler dead. What makes this case even more troubling is what officers continued to observe and document after the declaration of death. In their police reports, officers described a series of signs of life that they witnessed with their own eyes and ears. One officer wrote that the release of air from the child was, quote, "audible and visible." Another wrote that it began to sound like the child was gasping for air. When medical staff moved the boy's body to the morgue, a female officer observed what appeared to be another audible gasp. And when she entered the morgue, nearly an hour later, she observed what appeared to be another gasp or air release. Officers documented all of this. A nurse present suggested the sounds could have been a response to the resuscitation efforts, but the audio related to that moment was redacted from the released report. Despite everything the officers saw and heard, the toddler remained in the morgue. 5.5 hours after being declared dead, medical staff walked into the morgue. The toddler was alive. He was breathing. The police report states clearly that the child had been declared dead in error. The end of the body cam footage shows the heartbreaking moment an officer had gone to inform the family that it was time to say goodbye, not knowing that the little boy was still alive. Once the toddler was found alive in the morgue, he was immediately flown to Phoenix Children's Hospital for emergency treatment. The time he had spent in the morgue, the hours that had passed since he was incorrectly declared dead, had taken a devastating toll. MRI results confirmed that the boy had suffered severe brain damage. He will require lifelong care as a result. An 18-month-old boy, a pool accident, a doctor who allegedly dismissed a nurse's report of a pulse and an officer's warning, and a little boy who will spend the rest of his life living with the consequences. Mercy Gilbert Medical Center has responded to the case through a spokesperson who said, and I quote, "This is a heartbreaking situation." The hospital said it immediately conducted a thorough review of all aspects of the care provided to learn what happened and to make meaningful changes to strengthen its care. It said it continues to work with the family and their representative. "Patient safety and exceptional care is our highest priority," the spokesperson added. The doctor involved has not been publicly named. It is not known at the time of this report whether any disciplinary action has been taken. A nurse said she had a pulse. A police officer reported it to the doctor. The doctor told him he went to medical school for a reason. And an 18-month-old boy spent 5.5 hours in a hospital morgue, alive, before anyone listened. He survived. But the brain damage he suffered in those hours will shape every day of the rest of his life. His family deserves full transparency, full accountability, and full answers about what happened inside that emergency room on February 8th. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. If you found this report informative, please subscribe so you don't miss our next update.